Hello and welcome back to my channel. We have a special treat today as the camera was rolling as we're leaving the dock at George Kemp Marina in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. We have a very good weather forecast for today and we'll be heading down the length of the St. Mary's River until we reach Detour, Michigan. That high-pitched whining you just heard was the Ranger Tug's bow thruster. The bow thruster is either on or off. There's no in-between or variations of speed. It also seems underpowered for the boat. It has difficulty moving the bow around in any sort of breeze. I've docked the boat plenty of times without using the bow thruster at all, and it goes perfectly fine. The outboard engine on the back can swing left and right so far that you get quite a lot of maneuverability on the boat. This is the last time we'll see the blue research vessel Key on the strip, and we get a great view of it as we're leaving the marina. That yellow boat in front of us is a lock tour boat. The boats take passengers up and down the locks, and I believe, being yellow, it is Canadian. Last time we were coming through here, I mentioned I didn't know what these yellow cylinders strung between these little islands were for, and a nice commenter let me know that they were for blocking ice flows. I never would have guessed that, so I really do appreciate that comment. Thank you. As we're going by the short Sugar Island ferry crossing, I was being passed up by a speedboat and a jet ski who I was watching, and did not immediately notice that the ferry was on the move. As soon as I noticed the ferry was moving, I decided to hammer on the throttle and keep up with the boat on plane in front of me to get out of the ferry's way as soon as possible. The ferry's course wasn't quite what I expected, but looking back I realized the ferry was simply turning around and I wasn't really in its way at all. But I generally boat, on theory, better safe than sorry, so it all works out in the end usually. The St. Mary's River goes through several lakes. You can see we're going through Lake Nicolet right now, which is a long and narrow lake. That's about 8 or 9 miles long. There looks to be plenty of space on this lake, and I would have loved to get up close to some of the shorelines. However, it's about 1 to 2 feet deep outside of the channel markers for the dredged channel, and inside the channel it's about 30 or 40 feet deep. So I had my eye on my GPS and made sure I was going through each one of the channel markers so I didn't run aground. pausing for a moment to let the Nibosh Island ferry cross. There is so much ship traffic on the St. Mary's River that it makes a lot more sense to have short ferry routes going between sparsely populated islands and the mainland versus having bridges that would need to be raised every time a ship comes through. It's also convenient for pleasure vessels since you don't have to pause and wait for bridges, and the ferry is very quick to get across. This is what people usually talk about when they say the water was glass-like. The water is simply so still that you can see things like the reflections of clouds easily in the water. It makes for a very smooth and enjoyable ride. Conditions like these are rare on the Great Lakes themselves, but more common in rivers like this and smaller lakes. The Grand Banks I just caught up with belong to my dad, who I met in Sault Ste. Marie the day before. They had left a few hours before us at the same marina we started the day at. And since we're a bit of a faster boat, we caught up with them halfway through the St. Mary's River. I decided to take advantage of the nice day and get out the drone for a bit. The river was wider now, and there was a bit of depth on either side of the channel, so I was able to simply pull off and drift for 20 minutes without really moving at all. After launching my drone, I flew over to my dad's Grand Banks and got some glamour shots. A huge benefit of being able to boat during weekdays instead of weekends is when you get a absolutely gorgeous day like this, you barely have any other company out on the water. On holidays and weekends, a day like today would just have everybody buzzing around. No, I have absolutely no issue with other people out on the water. In fact, I'd encourage everybody to go out and spend a day if you can, on a boat, kayak, canoe, however you can do it. It's a great way to get outside and really connect with nature, especially on a tranquil day like this. If you are able to get out on the water, though, and you find yourself alone, it can be a very surreal and unique experience. Conditions are still flat as we near Detour, Michigan. However, we lose our perfect Glasslike Water. This is our path today. We started in Sault Ste. Marie on the Michigan side, headed down the St. Mary's River for the entire length until we reached Detour, Michigan. It was about 45 miles. I've stayed in Detour a few times before this. The first time I was weathered in for nearly a week. Not a bad town to get weathered in at. There are 2 grocery stores, a bunch of small restaurants, but it is a small town, so you quickly exhaust everything there is to see. The marina's Wi-Fi also didn't reach out to the docks and was decently slow by the office, which wasn't the worst thing in the world because it's nice to disconnect from time to time. The most touristy thing I was able to do while I was stuck in town was go to a nice public outdoor garden down by the water. Overall, it was a very nice day today. I'm very happy I got out the drone while I was out on the water. It's a rare time when I can actually do that, although I did sting my fingers quite a bit when I was catching the drone on the propellers. In the next video, we will be heading on to Lake Huron and going down to the Les Chenaux Islands where we will be anchoring for the night. If that's something you're interested in seeing, please subscribe. Until then, I will see you next time.